Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Libertarians at Large. Dan Fishman's away. He will be joining us later on in the broadcast, but we definitely wanted to meet up with you and have our conversations of liberty like we do every single week. So how's everyone else doing?
Well, I told you already, Eric.
The viewers don't know.
The viewers don't know. So it was 70 degrees here in Nebraska today. Beautiful, beautiful. My son visited his college, one of the colleges that he's looking at today. It happens to be the one that's in our hometown, so we didn't have to go very far. We had to drive about 3 minutes away, but we walked all over campus and got warm because it was. The sun was beating down on us, and the band and choir were able to practice outside today instead of in 5 or 6 different sectional groups in different rooms. So it was cool.
Perfect. Yeah. How about yourself, Valerie?
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. Like, I am so cold and everything's really dry. My skin's really dry, and I'm wearing a blanket on my lap right now because I'm so cold. So I'm a little jealous. But yeah, no, otherwise, we were also talking before the broadcast, and the most libertarian governor in the United States just put in a mask mandate for the state of New Hampshire. And he got the libertarian votes and then screwed everybody. But I think it'll be all right. It's more of a Karen's gonna Karen kind of thing instead of like police gonna arrest people kind of thing. Which is annoying, but those people are still not going to wear masks if they didn't wear masks before. So we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
So,
how about you, Eric? How are things going with you?
Well, I mean, North Carolina is really chilly. It's amazing. It's 70 up by you, but we had a high in the mid-50s today in North Carolina. So we seem to have gotten your cold weather. Other than that, it's just business as usual down here. I mean, we finally have a presidential solution here. We finally have a U.S. senator that's been reelected. There are a couple of statewide positions that are still out because the vote total is less than 30 between these statewide positions. So, I mean, hey, when they say every vote counts, they really mean it. It's amazing. Jared Hall saying that it's 64 in Indiana or Indianapolis. So, geez, you're even warmer than we are here. That's amazing. But it's crazy. The weather is just up and down and everywhere.
81 in Texas.
81 in Texas. Now there's some decent weather.
Yeah. So what do we want to talk about today? Did you see that Georgia, that Georgia just announced? Their Secretary of State just announced that after a hand recount of all the ballots, the results didn't change.
Right.
So, you don't say.
Imagine that,
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, there are so many allegations or accusations of voter fraud or miscounting, and it just hasn't been in the proof. I think this is one of the most detailed elections we've had because there was so much concern from both sides that there was going to be a lot of election fraud. So there were so many stopgaps and measures put into place well before election day, or even well before we had the first ballots returned on absentee or by mail voting. And I think a lot of it is showing that it worked, which is amazing. I'm sure there's still voter fraud that's out there. There are individuals who cast absentee ballots and unfortunately passed before election day, and technically those votes are supposed to be taken out of the cycle. But I mean, I think overall, democracy has been served in one way or another. So I'm not happy that we didn't get 5%, but I think that's definitely something that we need to look at. But our election,
Jared points out that hand recounts almost never change results. And when you stop and think about it, recounts of any kind are unlikely to change the results or to expose fraud. Because those are votes that have come in that have already been deemed to be legitimate. You know, if you're going to catch fraud, you got to catch it before the votes even get in the ballot box. Because once
who was it? Mike Huckabee saying that he was going to vote twice, but you know, that's the side that's like screaming about voter fraud. But you know,
Mike Huckabee, vote early, vote often. You know, I mean, that's.
Jared's asking me a question I don't know the answer to, so I don't know, Jared, if you know the answer. Said, what was the name of the whose name was drawn from a box in that small town outside of Lincoln? But I don't know. I have a vague recollection of it, but have no idea whatsoever. So maybe he knows, fellow statists.
Fellow statists.
Maybe not.
But are there any election results that you've seen that were surprising or have changed your opinion of individuals in any way?
Not yet, for me.
Yeah. I mean, there was a good amount on the county level in New Hampshire that I was pleasantly surprised about. Most of them got over 5%. And with, you know, very little campaigning due to COVID and almost no name recognition. One of the guys got like 12% in one town, I think. And just, you know, that was surprising to me. But New Hampshire is a little bit more libertarian than other states. And so, you know, people will tend to vote that way if they don't like the Republican or if the Republican is the incumbent.
We got about our U.S. Senate candidate got about 6.5% of the vote, which is a lot, you know, for a U.S. Senate candidate in a race where there was both a Republican and a Democrat. Now, we took advantage of the fact that the Republicans didn't like the Republican and the Democrats didn't like the Democrat. You know, so we were but you know, that's good, and it shows the level of you know, seriousness that, you know, people will at least vote for our guy, even if he's not the one that they, you know, we're a nice choice, second choice for a lot of people, I think, in some places in Nebraska. So
yeah, like Ricky Dale Harrington, you know, a lot of people voted for him because they don't like Tom Cotton, and Tom Cotton also kicked out the Democratic candidate on that ballot. So he was a good second choice.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He would have been a good third choice too, but thankfully dirty tricks helped him up.
Yeah, well, we like, you know, the more votes we can, you know, the more votes we can accumulate. What happens over time is that, you know, people forget why, you know, what the circumstances were, but that we actually did get a lot of votes in a particular race. And, you know, that helps to build credibility over the long term. Hopefully it'll help folks to, you know, take us a little more seriously. Adams County, Colorado, Rob Stutz managed 4.8% with only 7 weeks of campaigning. And there's been more interest after the election. So a good way to go, Rob.
Good job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we have a solid message. It's just getting it out and putting it into a package that's sellable. So, I mean, I think that's really the most important aspect of the Libertarian Party.
And
but one of our exciting points every single week is the news quiz, isn't it?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me.
But how are you going to take the? We need your answers, Erik.
Yeah, you have to tell us.
So don't click on it until you've answered.
There we go. Okay, I can share my screen, but it's not switching over because Dan's the one who has to approve that, I guess, because I don't have that authority. Okay, well, we tried. Oh.
Out of all the awesome okay, here's a question. Out of all the awesome animals on Earth, why pick a porcupine for our, you know?
Well, hey, the story I've always it's
You guys miss me.
We're talking about porcupines. So
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm ready
Erik,
to talk
give
about
us the story.
porcupines.
So no, actually, the answer I've always been given is it was given to us by the San Francisco newspaper because we are the small prickly thing under everyone's feet. So that's my favorite story that I've ever heard about why we are the porcupine.
I always told people I had when my last 2 years in the legislature, I oftentimes wore a porcupine pin, and my colleague would say, "What does that mean?" I said, "This is the mascot, the unofficial mascot of the Libertarian Party, and it means that I can be kind of prickly, but if you don't mess with me, you don't have to worry about it."
Yeah. Don't strike unless struck upon.
That's right.
Right. And of course, the other critical thing, what's the difference between a Camaro and a porcupine?
Oh my God, what? Something about pricks.
Yeah, in a porcupine, the pricks are on the outside. Sorry, Camaro owners. It made a lot more sense in the 70s.
Well, some people that are really small, Jared, they are hedgehogs,
All right. Let me get the news quiz ready to go. It's going to take a minute, though.
Okay.
Well, actually, if you pull up my screen share, I have it ready to go.
Yeah, all right. Erik, you should run it.
Okay. So Joe Biden defeated President Trump and has been elected the next president of the United States.
Allegedly.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
What?
Right. I said allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm totally
yeah,
kidding.
exactly.
Joe Biden is the president-elect.
Yeah. A win in which state gave him a majority of electoral votes?
Oh.
Arizona.
The choices are Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, or Pennsylvania.
It wasn't North Carolina.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could scratch that one off.
Arizona.
I thought it was Georgia.
The ordering. I don't know what the ordering of things was.
But Valerie is from, well, not from, but recently from Arizona.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. When I was there, it was like Joe Arpaio, crazy town. And then they flipped blue this year. And I was like, wow, that's really, and it was the majority of the blue votes were from the Native Americans, which,
Yep.
He was very rude to.
Yeah, actually, I agree with Jared Hall. I think the last one that was declared before that pushed him over 270 was PA.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
All right, let's go with it.
Yeah. Pennsylvania.
It lasted so long.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
If it's not that, we're going to kick
It's
Jared out of the meeting.
green.
All right.
All right, Jared, you get to stay a Libertarian for a little longer.
So yeah, last Saturday, 4 days after the votes went to the polls, a victory in Pennsylvania secured the Electoral College vote for Mr. Biden. So actually, while we're here, does anyone have any opinions on what the Electoral College is and do we need to change it, edit it, get rid of it, or anything like that?
I do.
Yes, Dan.
To me, it's genius because, there's this great thing called the frontier theory. It says the reason why the United States is different from every other country is that for 150 years in our history, if you didn't like the way the country was running, you moved 10 miles to the west and now you're outside of the country.
Right.
That spirit is still alive in the Mountain West today.
Mm-hmm.
The states are important parts of our country. It's important that the states have their specific vote. 16th Amendment is the amendment I would get rid of first. 17th is close behind it. It's important that the states have these popular votes because it allows us, with the freedom of movement, to go to the state that we like the best. And, it's funny, when I moved here, I lived in Virginia, was looking at the areas to live, and I kept considering Maryland because it's so much cheaper. But everybody in Virginia thinks Maryland is the worst place on earth. That's just what they think.
Yes.
But the thing about it is they think that because Maryland seems like a repressive state compared to Virginia in terms of your freedoms. But to me, I was coming from Massachusetts. Maryland seems like nirvana. So I feel pretty good about it.
Since you're from Massachusetts, you probably think that everybody in Maryland is a good driver.
No. The Maryland drivers are dominatingly the worst. It is astonishing. You could
Have you driven in New Jersey lately?
I've driven the Pike recently.
Okay.
I don't know if that, but I don't know if that counts as Jersey.
Yeah, no, the Turnpike really doesn't.
Right. But it is, I mean, the Maryland drivers are super crazy. There's no question about it. But that's why I think the Electoral College is really important. The states have the right to sort of vote as themselves who the president is. I mean, the real problem, of course, is the president shouldn't have all this power.
Well, this is true.
But I like the Electoral College system.
Yeah.
Because it reminds us that we're meant to be. I mean, it's in our friggin' name. How do we forget it? We are the United States, not the Unified States, not the state of America, the United States of America.
And I happen to agree with you. I do like the Electoral College, but I think it still needs to be tweaked or developed. I think the House of Representatives needs to override the Appropriament Act of 1920,
28, something in there.
Yeah, it was after I think it was passed in 1919 in anticipation of the 1920 census, but didn't actually go into effect until 2022. Where it actually filled and set the House of Representatives at 435 members.
Right.
So I think we actually need to vastly expand the House of Representatives to actually be representative of the people, and therefore actually also increase the number of electorals in the Electoral College. But
there is, so obviously Valerie's state has the third largest legislative body, Democratic legislative body. In the world. New Hampshire has 400 state representatives for a population of 37, including house pets.
500.
So, right. And the Sarwarks, there's 6 of those. So, but there is there is this idea of participatory democracy that's sort of sweeping the country. There's a libertarian based out of New York named Devin Balkin, who ran for public advocate a few years ago.
Yep.
And he runs a company that facilitates participatory democracy, including one of their clients is Taiwan. Now, I don't think of Taiwan as necessarily the biggest bastion of democracy, but what they did is they put everybody who registered to vote online and gave them the ability to vote on every matter that was before the House, before the legislative body. And then every legislator could see how every person who had registered to vote had voted on the issue before they voted themselves. And one of the really unintended consequences of that is that when the people got to vote and know that their legislators had seen their vote, they showed up to the ballot box and voting went up to like 80% because people were participating in this thing and people were more responsive, stuff like that. Spreading things out, getting the representatives more responsive to the people, that's a win-win-win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can like literally call any of your representatives around here and they will answer their cell phone and talk to you and, help you get a bill into the house or into the state house and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. It's so small because it's so big.
I mean, but you even look at other westernized democracies like England or Germany or even India. Their legislative body is far larger than what the United States has today.
Mm-hmm.
We I did an analysis I don't know 5 or 6 years ago, and in the first Congress in 1789, I was elected in 88. The first Congress, every member of Congress of the House of Representatives represented something like 33,000 voters.
Yeah.
Okay. My legislative district represents about 39 to 40,000 voters in Nebraska now. I mean, each legislative district does. And so, I always put that into context. People could call me with 33,000 voters or 35,000 voters in my district, only 4 counties. People knew me. They felt comfortable calling me. I'd run into them at the grocery store and stuff like that. I mean, how many members of Congress, and I think members of Congress now represent something like, 750,000, 750,000 or something like that. I mean, how many of those people have actually ever met or laid, eyes on their member of Congress in person, and probably not very many. And so, the first congressional election that I worked in was in 1978. And our districts were were somewhat smaller at the time. And the guy who was running for Congress that year, in the party that I belonged to at the time when I was 15 years old, right? He went door to door. I mean, he'd been in the legislature, and that's the way he campaigned. And so one day he picked up my brother and me. We got in his van with his kids and his wife, and we canvassed these small little villages down in our part of the state. And I think that's something that really gets missed now that we've got a bigger Congress. Now, in order to you also do the math, in order to make Congress as representative or even close to as representative as it was in 1789, you'd have to have something like 100,000 members of the House. So.
Right.
So
what are you going to
do? What's interesting is that's actually in the Constitution. It's Section 2 says the number of representatives shall not exceed one for every 30,000, but each state shall have at least one representative. Mm-hmm. I often wonder how they were able to overrule that without them actually amending the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's actually written in there. It's only supposed to be one for 30,000, but
maybe we should take it to court.
You know what? That's actually an amazingly good idea.
Declare the Act of 1920 or whatever it was. Have it declared unconstitutional.
I love this idea, Laura.
We just need to find a lawyer. What's Nick doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
not much.
So I guess we'll go on to question 2.
Okay.
Which Trump administration official, when asked about the preparations for the transition of power, said there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration?
I know this.
William Barr, Mark Esper, Mark Meadows, or Mike Pompeo?
I think it's pronounced pompous.
Yeah. I would happen to agree with you on that one.
It was him. Yep.
So we're all in agreement it was Mike Pompeo or Pompous?
Pompous.
Yes. Pompous. It was.
Yay.
President Trump has been marshaling his administration and pressuring his Republican allies into acting as if the election outcome is still uncertain.
So bizarre.
Yeah, this is a horse that has been beaten pretty hard. So you want to move just right on to question 3?
Yeah. Oh, I like this one.
Yes. Which country brokered an agreement to end the war in Nagorno and Karabakh?
I know.
Yeah, what do you say?
I could sing the Internationale, which is the national anthem. It was Russia.
Yes. And if you actually started breaking it out into Soyuzhu Rushimi Respublik Rest, I would be absolutely shocked.
Я говорю немного русский язык. Я изучал русский язык в Итальянском университете. So,
you're calling us communists or something. Yeah.
Right.
Libertarian conspiracy theorists are going crazy right now. Heads exploding.
I know. Jared Hall got it right too. That's awesome. Yeah, no.
It's a big deal for Russia to step up on the stage. It's like this. I mean, it's absolutely prestigious for them, but it doesn't change the fact that they're fundamentally opposed to all sorts of human rights.
Well, also, let's be honest that this has anyone else read the peace treaty?
No.
Oh, okay. It really favors Russia. Russia is now going to have an active role in border management between the two countries. The borders, it really doesn't settle anything. The Armenian population that was displaced will remain displaced. It really doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's more of a
this is peace like the peace that Russia brought to Czechoslovakia and Hungary when they invaded them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's basically the 1960s Yugoslavia all over again, and we enforce peace by bringing tanks. Yes.
Yeah.
There you
remember,
go. That's Russia's idea of a peace treaty, I think.
There was a TV show in the 50s called The Rifleman. And one of the things the guy said on one of the episodes always stuck with me. He's like, I'm a peacemaker, son. And I'm like, what do you mean, Dad? There's nothing as peaceful as a dead body.
You and Putin are thinking alike. Or at least the show Rifleman is.
Right.
So, yes.
Okay, was that Chuck? What was his name?
Connors. Bart
Chuck
Connors.
Yeah.
Wait, I think it's Bart. Wait, Chuck Connors is the shoe. No, Chuck Taylor is the shoe. Chuck Connors is the actor.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, here's even something that I didn't even know. Within hours of the deal's announcement, protests broke out in Yerevan, Armenia's capital. So, yeah, that's not a surprise at all.
The Armenians have had a really tough lot in life. People don't really know the whole story about it. But
Ever since World War One, I
Yep.
mean, it has been a very tough time for Armenia. I mean, in reality, the first genocidal event of the 20th century was the Armenian genocide by the Turks.
I agree with you 100%.
Yep. Okay, question 4. A new study which used cell phone mobility data from 10 U.S. cities provides more precise estimates for how much each kind of indoor venue contributed to urban outbreaks. According to this research, what type of indoor space is riskiest to visit in terms of new coronavirus infections? Either restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, or hotels. Any ideas, people?
I don't want to say restaurants because I enjoy eating in them.
Yeah. But
You
it
know,
probably is restaurant.
Yeah.
Jared Hall has already chimed in with restaurants. I don't know.
Jared probably knows. He's
Yeah.
I agree that it's restaurants.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
that just kind of... Unfortunately, it is. And I agree with you, Valerie. I enjoy eating in restaurants way too much myself. So
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is that
have other states at their restaurants been able to do carry out drinks? I mean,
yes.
as part of the COVID thing. And I think that's a wonderful invention.
Yes, they have that forever.
Well, Nebraska has.
not North Carolina.
No, when Valerie says forever, she means since April.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, they should have it. We should.
Yes,
They should have it forever.
Should have it forever. Absolutely. In fact,
I think it'll stay.
I think it probably will too. I think people will say, "Well, this is stupid. We were able to do it now."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it has led to rampant alcoholism and crazy drunk driving.
Who has time to get drunk between the restaurant and home if you're doing a carry out with Mexican food and you've got margaritas? I mean, you want to
Challenge
get
accepted.
Yeah.
I do think though, but you raise an outstanding point. If there's going to be a big thing of alcoholism and depression, we're living it, right? It is the daily lives. We talked about this a little bit last week, but the stories out of North and South Dakota are just heartbreaking. People talking about the fact that the entire state now feels depressed. And for some reason, you can't take a Bud Light home with your takeout. It's
Right.
crazy.
I am waiting for styrofoam wine glasses, though.
That's a good idea.
See, Colorado's already done it. That's good. Colorado's ahead of the game.
Yep.
But,
Thanks, Rob.
I think that I think here in Nebraska, there's already people talking about making that permanent, because I think that even after we open up as normal, I don't think it will be quite as normal. I think they won't squeeze as many people in there, and they've discovered that it's okay actually for you to, put your margaritas in a big styrofoam cup and take them home. So,
And it's adding so much more revenue to the restaurants because there's like hardly any labor to it. They're not bringing you the drinks. You're taking them all home.
And which is worse for alcoholism? I can go and get one drink at the restaurant and take it out, or I go to the liquor store and I buy a bottle.
right.
And if you're going out to get a drink, you're leaving your house. You're not holed up in there like wallowing in depression. You're like, okay, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get some fresh air. Even if you're just getting in your car, driving, getting your margaritas and drinking them and then driving home.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, Valerie.
Yeah.
Curbside weed. Ooh.
Yeah.
There's an idea. I like that.
Well, apparently they have it in Arizona.
They're okay.
And I've heard that it's in Colorado as well, that you can order the apothecary and they come out. You text them when you get in the parking lot. You have to have paid beforehand by credit card. They bring you your stuff.
Wow.
Makes sense.
So which drug maker announced on Monday that early data showed its vaccine was over 90% effective in preventing COVID-19? AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, or Pfizer? Dan!
Dan is horseshacking.
Oh, Mr. Carter. Well, we're the only ones who understand that.
Hey, welcome back, Connor. I've seen
Sure.
that.
No, well, so I don't know
They
if you.
saw reruns. I saw it when it was real.
I don't know.
First run.
The most depressing statistic I saw today about aging is that 80% of kids under 24 don't know that Justin Timberlake was ever in a band. That's crazy to me. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you guys are all old, just like me. I agree with Mark Edmond, who had it first. I think it's Pfizer.
I would agree. It is. It's Pfizer. Yeah, actually, I've seen a lot of their release information.
Yep.
And it's actually really interesting and is going to have a lot of new infrastructure put into the medical community because it needs to be stored at between -80 and -94 degrees Fahrenheit.
I saw
There's
something.
two different ones and two different temperatures.
Different ones. One of them is stored at the temperature that most vaccines are stored at, like 0 degrees, I guess.
Yep.
But then you had the other one that required you to be way below that. Nobody, and I think that they sort of set that one aside, or not prioritizing that one because nobody has the equipment.
Well, that's the Pfizer one. The Pfizer one is the one that has to be stored at ridiculously cold temperatures.
That's crazy.
I think, is it AstraZeneca that has the other one?
No, it's Moderna.
Moderna has the other one. But the difference is that the Pfizer one is effective in one shot, where Moderna's, it's actually a series of 2.
Well, and the other thing about it is that they're different from normal vaccines and that they're RNA based. And so it truly is a leap for medical science to bring this to market. I mean, in addition, it has 2 fundamental things. Obviously, the immunity to COVID is a big one, but then it also allows the government to track you anywhere. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That's the pesky RFID chip that they put into every dose.
The one thing that I kind of wonder about and nobody's talking about is, could you take more than one vaccine? Like, could I get the Pfizer and the Moderna?
That's an interesting question.
Then you create like some super strain of COVID and we have to start all over.
But I'll be immune. Why would I care?
Well, and actually, you brought up a great point, Dan, because they were talking about how this is the first vaccine actually to use RNA. And they've been actually working on a cure for cancer using the same procedure of going through RNA. And now that there's so much more data and real world experience in creating this vaccine, they believe that they're going to be able to make the next leap forward in cancer prevention using the same methodology.
There is I was privileged to work when I was at MGH with people at the Whitehead Institute, which is, it's affiliated with MIT as well as with MGH, and they're dedicated to curing cancer. There's a documentary that you should watch. It's on the Vice channel. You can get it on HBO if you have HBO, called Killing Cancer. And this technology was used against on cancer patients that have no, they were on death's bed, 50 of them with uncurable cancer, and they gave them a treatment. And within 2 weeks, 47 of them were able to get up and walk home.
What?
And when I was at, you have to watch the show. It's amazing because what they're doing is they're actually taking some of the world's deadliest viruses, so measles, smallpox, things like that, and they're able to program them to target these cancer cells. It's unbelievable. And these guys said, they said it when I left, so that's 2018. They predicted, and I sometimes I don't want to say things that are awesome because I feel like they won't come true, but they said that this is 2018, that they predict an end in suffering from cancer within 15 years, an end to death and suffering from cancer in 15 years, which would be amazing. And I mean, if that happens, I'm starting to smoke again.
And actually, Pfizer made some of the scientists from Pfizer, not Pfizer itself, but they actually believe that with all of this additional money being pumped into developing the corona vaccine, that the RNA research that they have as a basis will probably bring an end to cancer in about 10 years now.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's insane.
And I mean, there's like a lot of things that this is an emergency situation. And so they kind of had a little bit less regulations. But now as libertarians, we're all sitting here going like, yeah, you could have done this with other things. We could have already had vaccines for other deadly diseases if we had, or even a cure for cancer by this point, if we had let them have less regulations and just get the damn job done.
Exactly. I mean, we've taken the brick of government off of their backs and allowed them to fast track. And all of a sudden now they're talking about the secondary and tertiary repercussions from the research that they were able to do with this. Right. So I think that actually really brings your point home that if we just let these industries do what they're supposed to do, we could have amazing additional repercussions and make our society better than ever before.
Yes.
One of the most important talks I think people can go to, libertarian books they can read, and let me pull the thing back up there, is Dr. Mary Ruwart's talk about how when the FDA came in, prior to that, there's the camera, the path of increase had been like this for the number of new drugs introduced to the market. And after the FDA came in, and they came in, on the heels of a thalidomide scandal that did not affect the United States.
Yep.
Right? No, the only cases that were of, because thalidomide was never approved in the United States, it was approved in England. The only cases were people who had come from overseas who had been treated with thalidomide overseas. And so what had been this pace of medical new drugs introduced was this. And it crushed the introduction of new drugs because, I mean, it's like everything. When the government runs it, the people get screwed. And it's cronyism too, right? Because it used to be that a small company could bring a drug to market. Now, a small company to bring a drug to market requires millions and millions of dollars in financing.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, but you look at, like the Obamacare and the marketplace and all of that, where the insurance industry is now backpedaling from their support of teaching hospitals or remote hospitals. So most of the hospitals that we've seen close in the last 10 years have all been teaching hospitals or remote care hospitals.
Right. Because even cronyists, and I don't want to say crony capitalists, but even cronyists understand supply and demand. Okay. If they can make healthcare providers scarce, healthcare providers make more money.
Right.
And so that's why, the AMA, which is, licensed by the government, controls the number of students admitted to American medical schools each year. You can be the brightest doctor ever in Germany or England and come over here, and you will still have to do your residency all over again.
Right.
Because otherwise,
I'm sorry, Laura, I
come
think
here.
you're going to have a point.
Yeah, no. I just noticed a question from Victor Brandt Wedding here. He says that he was new to this group. He was wondering if this is the Trivial Pursuit and general BSing is typical of our gatherings. So, what's the answer? Huh?
I would say it's the answer of this show is like that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of other things. So, for example, Fridays are on LPTV is Candidates Corner with candidates who are running around the country. And now in this case, they are doing postmortems on their election. Wednesdays is Libertarios Españos. Friday is Libertarian Party Happy Hour, which is like this, but drinking. But we do a lot of stuff too. So for one thing, I would start off and I'll say everybody should, if you haven't before, go to lp.org/states. Let me put that up on the screen. You go there and you will be connected to your state affiliate. And that's where a lot of the action is happening, the door to door. And this is a critical time for you to get out and join your state party, because the affiliates are the ones. So the national party, I'm the executive director. Everybody else on the screen is one of the 5 at-large members. We sit on the national committee and we do steering for, the at-large members and the LNC do steering for the party's general strategy. But almost all of the really hard work, candidates getting elected, door knocking, stuff like that, that happens at your state affiliate level. And if you can join your state affiliate, you'll have a community around you immediately of people who want to do things and make a difference and are remarkably effective. So,
and of course, for those who are new to the Libertarian Party, we should probably just talk a little bit about how the Libertarian National Committee is structured, and how we operate and why Libertarians at Large are on this show. We have members of the Libertarian National Committee. That we have 4 officers: the chair, the vice chair, the treasurer, and the secretary. We have 5 at-large members who are elected by the convention as a whole, and then we have. Okay, tell me how many? 8, 9?
8 regions.
How many regions?
8.
8 regions. Okay. 8 regions who and their regional representatives, their states represent that elect them, and then they represent their states on the LNC. And okay, there we go. There we all are. And so because we don't represent specific states, this is sort of an outreach effort on our part. To make sure that people know that, we are out here, that we're talking about things related to liberty, and, just to be accessible. You can always get in touch with any of us via email. Typically our first name dot last name. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At LNC.
At lp.org.
The easiest thing to do, everybody should come to lp.org, and at the bottom in the right-hand corner, you'll see it says National Committee. You click that and you'll see everybody here. Find your region. So, for example, I live in Maryland, Region 5. My representative is Susan Hogarth, and my alternate is David Valente, and I can email them all from here. Or if you wanted to, you can find people down here and email them, and we're all in here, talk about what you want to talk about, etc. We definitely appreciate email from everybody. We are an organization. An organization runs on people. So getting you guys here, this is meant to be an assembly spot. We all come together and talk about stuff and talk about general news things, stuff like that. But it's a libertarian level conversation with the idea that we want you to be more excited about libertarianism in the party. And so if you want to join, that's a pretty easy one too. In fact, I get to show off the new join page for the Libertarian Party. Join the LP.
Ooh.
Yep, it's pretty fancy. Just came out a couple days ago. We got some nice videos on here talking about promoting liberty. Listen to some of the testimonials are really impressive. I don't want to steal the thunder from people who are here, but a lot of stuff talking about what brought people to the party. And then you get to join up. You get a lot of nice things for membership. The most important one is you'll get 4 issues of LP News during the year. You'll get access to your regional representatives who will keep you informed of a lot of local events that are going on in the area. Joining the LP is one of those things that, it's your toe in the water. It is your toe in the water for liberty. And if you think that things have been going wrong for a long time, there's a lot of people who agree with you. This is your chance to join up in a group with them. That's my pitch.
What's Mississippi's problem?
I'm sorry, what did they say?
What's Mississippi's problem?
Because they're unaffiliated.
Yeah. Because this is Idaho. and Mississippi, right? We're libertarians. Groucho Marx said it best. I wouldn't want to be a member of any group that would have me as a member. there are going to be states that say, oh, you know what, I don't want to be in a region for whatever reason. And in that case, their regional representative is the vice chair, Mr. Ken Molman. Ken is the regional representative for all the states that choose to be unaffiliated with any other region. All right. Let me unshare my screen and bring Eric's back on. Thanks, Iowa.
So there's no graphic for this one. I don't know why. But last year, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi defended her homeland against the accusations of genocide, staining her global reputation. Last Sunday, her party easily won the election in which country? We talked about it last week, actually.
I am going to say that it's the country formerly known as Burma.
So you are going with Myanmar.
Yes. Am I wrong?
I agree.
I would agree as well.
All right.
So yeah,
she won the Nobel Peace Prize too, didn't she?
Yes, she did, and that's why it's kind of interesting that she's being her government is being accused of genocide, because she only won the Peace Prize last year.
Wait. We were talking about the Ethiopian guy last year.
Oh no, the Ethiopian is last year. Yeah, she won it 3 years ago. Sorry. Yeah.
A hell of a year for a lot of people.
It's too easy to get confused with people who won the Nobel Peace Prize and then immediately turn dictatorial afterwards.
I know. It's
bombing children.
The steps are get Nobel Peace Prize, become genocidal maniac, and it's
step 3, profit.
I was gonna say. Step 3.
Hey, I mean, there's been a lot of people that have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize and then become genocidal maniacs. So, yeah, it's not good.
It's not.
No. All right. Question 7. Alex Trebek, who died this week after a battle with pancreatic cancer. I think we can all say that we're very sad about this.
Indeed.
Surpassed this television personality to claim the record for hosting the most episodes of a single game show.
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker, yeah.
Yeah, Monty Hall, Regis Philbin, or Chuck Woolery. I do love that every single one of these answers was formed in a question.
Yes, very clever. All right, for the kids out there, what show did Monty Hall host?
I know.
Wasn't it I Have a Secret?
No.
Laura
knows.
Make a deal.
Let's make a deal.
There you go.
My grandparents used to watch that over the lunch hour, and I would walk over there from school to have lunch with them sometimes, and they would have Monty Hall's Let's Make a Deal. They would sit there, they would watch it, and my grandfather would fall asleep before, just before the final prize, whatever it was, and then he would get up and go to work. It's like, it was crazy, yeah.
And what game show did Chuck Woolery host?
The dating game.
Was it dating? Was it Love Connection?
Yeah, I'll be back in 2 and 2. And he's really gone off the deep end, hasn't he?
Oh, he has.
Wow.
He's really gone off the deep end. And then I'm going to skip the, there's a thing, the Let's Make a Deal math problem. If I tell you, fights will break out about it. So people are going to have to look it up for themselves. But it is so awesomely controversial. Maybe I'll tell it at the very end of the show.
So who are we selecting? I've seen a lot of Bob Barkers come up.
Bob Barker, yeah. Gotta be him.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep, it's Bob Barker. So Barker has 6,828 episodes of The Price is Right.
Right.
Trebek has over 8,000 episodes of Jeopardy. That
crap.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
That'll last.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trebek is going down in like television Hall of Fame.
Well, especially since they say that it's the same show.
Yeah.
Right. No show lasts that long anymore.
Right.
No.
I'm interested to see who the new host will be. I hope it's Ken Jennings, but I don't know.
I'm pulling for Ken Jennings too. I've got to say. I mean, hey, he was the longest running victor on Jeopardy. I mean, yeah.
Right.
LeVar Burton's name has come up a few times.
I've heard that. He would also be great.
They won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's reading Rainbow. I mean, or Star Trek Next Generation.
Exactly. Those are all good points. My favorite meme that went around about it was the Saturday Night Live Sean Connery. We meet again, Trebek.
Okay, so I remember LeVar Burton, since we're on a tangent here, I'm taking us on a tangent. LeVar Burton, where did he first get his start?
Roots.
That's right, Roots, back in the 70s, right?
Yeah, he was Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
I did know that.
You didn't know that?
I did know that. I don't know how.
Here I was hoping that we were educating you. You children.
I think my mom was this when VCRs were around. My mom used to record all these miniseries with blank VCRs, and I think that was one of them.
You had to watch it.
Kudos to your mother for knowing how to program the VCR
with the commercials in it. So,
All right.
In 2020, there has been a record number of commercial flights, weddings, name storms, or movie releases.
Oh, names.
Storm.
Yeah. Name storms. That's.
And in 2021, there's going to be a second baby boom. I can tell you right now.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
It's interesting. There was a great article about it's going to be both. It's going to be a huge baby boom, but there's also going to be it's already you're seeing it, but record number of divorces. People who are just like, I thought I could live with you, but that had to do with being out of the house 40 hours a week.
You're going to have all these
Right.
According to the quiz, there's already 19 storms. I know watching the news this morning, there are a possibility of 2 more that are currently in the process of forming right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
So it's not over yet.
Breed them for freedom. That's what Jared says.
That's what Valerie says. That is
It's not me. I'm not part of this baby boom.
right.
Which company became the first to conduct a human test of the Hyperloop technology?
That sounds horrible.
I know.
Yes, Dan.
Maybe I don't, but I'm pretty sure it was Transpod.
I would disagree with you.
Oh, you think it's Virgin?
I believe it's Virgin.
It used to be called something else. It's Elon Musk's thing.
No.
What?
Well, Elon Musk has one.
Oh, this is not
I
Musk's
don't
company.
think Elon Musk actually put the first person in the Hyperloop. I think the first traveler with Hyperloop was actually Richard Branson's company.
All right. Well, let's find out then. Does the audience have an opinion?
Amtrak.
Well, Jared Hall is agreeing with me and saying Virgin.
Right.
Yeah, we can all. Yep.
All right. Let's
go Virgin. Yep, it's Virgin.
Wow.
Yep, Virgin Hyperloop became the first company to conduct a human test of Hyperloop technology last Saturday at its 500-meter test track in the desert north of Las Vegas. During the test, 2 volunteers were whisked in a pod that was levitated by magnets inside a vacuum tube at 107 miles per hour in 6.25 seconds.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. It's a really good idea. Obviously, there's no friction in a vacuum, and maglev has been around for a long time. There is I don't go on any roller coasters just because why? But there was one that I had to.
I love roller coasters.
Well, so there's one in Florida. I can't remember what it's called now. I want to say it's called the Elevator, but that's not it. But it's maglev, and it starts off and it goes like this, and then you go directly up 14 floors over the top and then directly down. And it's like the coolest thing in the world just from a science point. It is every bit as nauseating as I thought it was going to be, but it was worth it for that one time to say that I did it.
Well, it's interesting because if you listen to Elon Musk, Hyperloop has the capacity of going over 375 miles an hour and potentially even faster. They're talking about making the transcontinental trip from like New York to San Francisco actually less than a jet.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is that it's useful for more than just people. Because once you create the vacuum, that's where all the energy is, and you don't have to do it again. And then
Right.
the amount of energy required to propel things inside the vacuum is really minimal. So the potential is really large. I think about this all the time. And I think we even talked about it on this show. We have this incredible problem with droughts and wildfires in one places, and it's raining like crazy on the East Coast. If we could work those out together.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be reinventing our transportation network for minimal cost in the long run, exceptional cost in the initial outlay. But there was a conference call between Richard Branson and Elon Musk, and they were thinking after the Hyperloops have been established, going from New York to Los Angeles would probably average about $100 per person.
Right. Now, the one thing about it, of course, is there's this incredibly awesome technology on the horizon. When's government going to get in the way?
Right.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about it too is that because it goes underground, they don't necessarily need to use eminent domain because so it's a very interesting idea.
Yep. Which word did Collins English Dictionary choose as its word of the year? Doom scroll, furlough, lockdown, or Zoom?
I mean, it's got to be either lockdown or Zoom. And Zoom was already a word and lockdown was sort of a word, but I would guess lockdown. That's just a guess, though. It could be Zoom.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be doom
I think
scroll.
it's gonna be soon.
Well, yeah, I think we could successfully cross out doom scroll.
Nick just told me what doom scroll was like 2 days ago because he said it in a sentence, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And then he looked it up for me.
What is it? I don't know what it means.
It's like when you just keep going through your Facebook and everybody's like, well, I gained 15 pounds. I don't have a job because like everybody's depressed and that's all you're doing. And so then you're like making yourself sad too.
Right.
So I said, oh,
I
okay.
think it's lockdown. Okay.
My
Well,
aren't as
Let's
depressed.
go with lockdown. It is.
Hey.
Wow.
wow.
Chosen as the word of the year because it is a unifying experience for billions of people across the world who have had collectively to play their part in combating the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really unifying because we're not together.
Yeah,
It's
we're unified in the experience, I guess.
An experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Stinks.
Other words that made the short list were coronavirus, self-isolate, TikToker, and furlough.
TikTok.
Oh my goodness.
Eric, do you do TikTok?
I have a TikTok account, but I cannot say that I've actually posted anything on there.
I don't know how it works. I'm only asking because we're the same age, so I'm like, maybe I'm the one who's an old person.
You can watch the best of TikTok on YouTube. I totally recommend that. That's the best way to experience it.
Yeah.
Just on YouTube, not even on TikTok.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends who do karaoke battles on TikTok. I do not partake because I have the singing voice of a dying harp seal. So yeah, no, but
wait a minute. I mean, we're adding a platform plank about karaoke. Libertarians love karaoke. How can you?
I enjoy observing
that's
karaoke. I do not enjoy participating in karaoke.
All right. I see some singing ahead in your future. I'm going to get you up there for a duet the next time we're there.
There is copious amounts of alcohol coming in from you.
I can do that.
3 men were banned from Yellowstone National Park after doing what? Cooking chicken in a hot spring, feeding Halloween candy to bears, organizing a horse race, or setting off fireworks on election night.
they were cooking chickens.
They cooked a chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Cooked a chicken.
Wow.
It sounds fake.
I would have bet the bears, but
It sounds fake.
So on a summer trip to Yellowstone, 2 cousins, a neighbor, and their families hiked to Shoshone Geyser Basin, and where they decide to cook their chickens in a hot spring. It is illegal to touch or throw objects into the hydrothermal features at the national park. A spokeswoman said it is also dangerous. The water in the park's hydrothermal system can exceed 400 degrees Fahrenheit and can cause severe or fatal burns. The 3 men were sentenced to 2 years of probation, banned from the park for that period, and fined between $500 and $1,200 according to the court documents.
Just for poaching a chicken? Come on.
They didn't even poach the chicken. They just tried boiling the chicken. Well, I guess that is a poaching, but yeah. I'm thinking of the poaching.
In a basket, or I mean, you got to wonder, how did they do it? Did they tie it up and just dip it in from the fridge, or what?
Actually, I'd like to know some technique here.
Right.
Well,
I don't know how they did it, and there's not video.
As libertarians, we would like privatize a national park, right? So if we were privatizing Yellowstone, would we be okay with people doing this?
No.
No.
I mean,
high liability.
I don't want people coming swimming in my swimming pool.
Right. I don't want a dead chicken in my.
And I mean, it's one of those things that it's there for everybody to enjoy. If everybody wants to cook a chicken or take a bath or whatever, it's Maybe but not. That's if I privately owned Yellowstone, that's where I would be with it. On the other hand, I might auction off cooking a chicken in there for highest bidder or something like that. There's one of my favorite movies. I mean, just one of the best movies is Basketball, and in Basketball, there's a kid who's dying of cancer, and he gets the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they come in and they, what do you want to do? He's like, I'd really like to kill an endangered species. So, auction something off like that, like, for $1 million, you can, I mean, they kind of do that. I actually think they do that in Africa with big game. Yeah. There are some, animals that the rangers think need to be culled. Mm-hmm. They auction off the right to go and hunt.
Yes.
So Nebraska does that with mountain lions. We have mountain lions come in, and they you spend, you have to you put your name in, you put so much money and your name in the bin, and then they draw a certain number. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was a organization in Africa. They were raffling off the ability to kill a rhino on a hunt, and the winning bid was like $1.5 million. It was amazing, and it all goes to actually preserving the land to maintain it as an animal sanctuary.
Yeah,
right. I mean that's how it would work if it were private too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and if anything, if you could do that, you would have an incentive to have more rhinos.
I have to agree with Dwayne Anderson, who just made their comment. Can we get hunting licenses for politicians in Washington?
I'm going to just say that we are the party of nonviolence, not principle. If we could have a way to remove them from office.
There you go. Exactly.
Use your vote.
Yep. All right, guys, we've been on for over an hour. It's been another wonderful show. You guys want to talk about anything exciting that's coming up in the next week? Anything exciting for Liberty? I mean, there's Thanksgiving. What do you guys? Don't tell me your Thanksgiving plans. I don't want you to get arrested.
Thank you.
But
I appreciate that.
It's an interesting thing. Do we have advice to people for
make smart decisions?
Yeah,
that's a good one. I say that all the time. Those of you who are listening, we're a voice the world needs. Mm-hmm. And if we're not smart and careful, there'll be fewer of us. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, if we are smart and careful, we ought to be smart and careful and do what we think is smart and wise. So I'm encouraging everybody, do your own thing, be smart, take care of yourself, and we're not doing a show next week because it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.